Hey guys, Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training. So, sorry about the noise in the background if you can hear that, but I've got my mic fixed so I can talk a little quieter now. I don't have to yell from the mic. It's kind of nice. Hey, I was gonna do some videos of the puppies working this morning, and I got this new sound device and I was having problems with it. And as usual, it was my own fault. It was a brain fart, but we got it fixed. So, as usual, I always talk about things usually that are on my mind that I've got going on within my business, right? So I've got these puppies going back to different states. I've got one going back to Georgia, one going back to Kentucky. And that's been a trial and tribulation. It's no big deal. We'll get that done. But it gets me thinking about, the knowledge that a new puppy owner would have. And there's some good videos that are on Leoberg and raising a puppy. I think Michael Ellis has a good one. And one of the biggest ones that you get when you get a brand new puppy is potty training, okay? Potty training is real simple if you know how to do it. And it's just a matter of structure, keeping things very consistently and confined, right? We use the crate. And crate training works real well because it gives the dog a secure spot. They're a den animal. They feel very fulfilled with that. A lot of people don't understand that. And once the dog starts going into a crate, and these guys are used to it already anyway, they're going to hold their bowels a little longer if you have a small enough crate that they can get up, move around, lay back down. Dogs generally don't like to foul themselves. They're a very clean animal, right? So as long as you give them good structure and let them out every couple hours and going outside and jiggling the doorknob, you want to go outside, you want to go potty, get them excited, take them outside and start chattering to them. You want to go potty, and boom, they void their bowels. You praise the hell out of them. Be stupid about it. Good boy, good. The more you, I always say if you basically feel like you look stupid because your neighbors are watching you across the fence line, you're doing it right, okay? So in a big sense, get really stupid with it. Just be anybody that's got children that have potty trained their kids, it's the same thing. They go, oh, that's great, and make it all exciting and really a lot of fun for the child. It's the same thing with a dog. Get a lot of praise. So what you want to do is set up a pattern of doing consistently and getting them to hold their bowels for longer. Remember that a dog wants to go to the bathroom about 5-10 minutes after they eat, so there's another opportunity for you to get the dog outside and give them on the praise side. You're going to build up that consistency and pattern, getting the dog to go outside and doing a lot of praise, a lot of affection when it does the right things, and get stupid with it. High praise. Good dog, yay! All right, so then once you establish that with enough consistency over 3, 4, 5 days, and you get a good that's time to start figuring out how can I get onto the negative side, okay? Joe Kirk, quiet! So what you want to do is you want to get the dog in the house and you want to kind of keep an eye on him. You remember when Mom used to always kind of seem like she was right around the corner, and right when you would do something wrong, she would come around and be like a bolt of lightning, and she'd kick your butt for whatever you were getting in trouble for? I call that the third eye, and that's a trained thing. That comes from getting around your kids long enough that you start to realize when the kid's quiet, something's up, and you sneak in there and you catch them doing something wrong, and you correct them for it, right? That's how they learn. So it's the same thing with that dog. You're going to give him freedom just enough to maybe have him sneak off and want to go to the bathroom, and keep that third eye. And as soon as you can spot it, you're going to come up behind him. You're going to startle techniques. A loud clap. No! And you'd be right over the top of him. Scare the heck out of him. Make that little chest go right through, that little heart go right through the chest. Pick him up, chastise him. Bad dog. You go outside, go potty. You go outside. Put him down outside and then start praising him on the positive side. See if you can get him to go if he hasn't sucked it up so much that his sphincter muscle's so tight that he can't go. But in a general sense, if he goes, praise the heck out of him for it. So now you have a very established, well-established positive side, and then you're starting to establish a negative side. And it's all about just basically understanding that he's going to want to go to the bathroom about 5-10 minutes after he eats, and your job is he's going to start getting nervous once he starts getting corrected, right? Your job is to read that body language, see the nervousness, and talk him. Oh, you want to go outside? Oh, you got to go outside? Get him to show you even more what the behavior is getting him what he needs to do, which is to go outside, right? And as long as you're consistent, you keep it up, and you keep your actions to a bare minimum, and you're diligent enough to stay on top of it, he's going to learn to go to the bathroom, right? He's going to learn to go outside. You're going to have it set up. The longer you do it, behavior sets in with patterns and routines as everything else, right? And we'll get the dog used to going to the bathroom outside instead of in the house, right? It's very hard when you have a dog that goes to the bathroom and you're not being diligent enough to watch him, and he ends up having accidents. That scent will start to get in, and then they're stimulated by that. You ever see them smelling the ground? That stimulation is what causes them to want to start going to the bathroom, right? When they smell of the dookie and they smell their feces in the areas, and they'll build up that scent pad, right? Well, you don't want that scent pad in your house because you don't want them going to the bathroom. So in a general sense, go down and get yourself some Nature's Miracle or some other product that basically takes out the enzyme and attacks the enzyme and eradicates it. Think of it like a eraser to a chalkboard. You want to clean it with those cleaning products. Don't use cleaning products that you would get from the grocery store, ammonia-based. Any other type of thing that you would get from the grocery store is not what you want. You want a pet store quality product that actually on the label should say something about attacking enzymes or eradicating the enzyme, right? So that takes out the scent pad and totally erases it off the chalkboard. It's very important. And that Nature's Miracles is a product that I use, that I've been using for years, was one of the first ones to come out with that concept. And now, of course, they have competitors that are out there. But it's a great stain remover. You can put it in your shampooers, you can do all kinds of stuff with it. It works great. So I swear by that stuff. It's really good stuff. Maybe I've got some stuff that they've got with Nature's Miracle that's for eradicating the skunk odor if your dog got skunked or you got skunked. Probably better than tomato juice, right? Excuse the background noise. All right, so that's pretty much it in a nutshell as far as potty training. As long as you're consistent, you stay on top of it, you don't have very many accidents, you clean it up with the right products, you should be on your way to getting the dog to show you that he needs to go to the bathroom. Your job is to read the body language once he starts getting nervous and wants to go outside, and get in there and start praising him for it. It's real hard once a dog starts establishing a negative behavior pattern because you haven't been diligent enough and you haven't been knowledgeable enough to stay on top of it, that once that behavior pattern gets started, especially a young puppy, very hard to get solved. It's almost impossible with some dogs. Some dogs are just really a pain in the rear. They get behavior started, they go off on it, and they become very very hard to backtrack and erase the problem once it gets started. So do it when you're starting and don't have any other leeway. They don't know any different, and you'll be on your way. All right. Another subject to talk about with puppies and with young dogs and dogs in general is very common things that comes at us from dogs. And that is handler bound or handler dependency, or what they call handler dependency, handler bound, and there's another word, and I'm just doing a brain blank on it right now, but there's another terminology involved. Separation anxiety, that's it. And that problem is a very, very severe problem once it gets started. And we see it all the time because people don't realize that they cause it. Your human nature causes it. You want to be around your new dog, and you're giving them a lot of affection, and they're with you, and pretty soon they get reliant to be with you all the time. And it's my humble opinion is that you want to make sure that you don't allow this to happen, and you put your head in the right space where you're starting to really work the dog towards becoming dependent and self-sufficient on their own, where they don't need you to be around all the time. And that means leaving them in their crate for a length of time by themselves, go to the store, come back. They get used to you coming back, and it becomes not a problem for them to be by themselves. At first, of course, they're going to bark and rah, 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 and go a little crazy. Let him cry himself out, and then teach him the word quiet and work on that aspect of things. But the more you do it, where you put them out in the backyard for a few minutes, you leave, you let them be out there for a while, you come back and you let them in the house, make sure you work on very hard on getting them to be by themselves for longer and longer periods of time, especially when they're young and they're getting established with these behavior patterns that would become a lifelong problem. Okay? And separation anxiety is very stressful to dogs. They will chew their way through doors, through walls. They will be destructive. They will rip up your whole house. And they're very stressed when it happens, when you're separated away from them. But if you do it when they're young, and you do it in such a way that you create that ability for them to be by themselves and be self-efficient and not be stressed out by it, that's what you're after. So really go after that. Really think about that and make sure that you do a good job of having no separation anxiety by making sure they can learn to be by themselves for longer periods of time. Your crate is a very good tool. It allows you to put them in an area that they can't get into any harm. They can't dig, they can't chew, they can't do negative behavior patterns because they're in that kennel. As long as they've got some nylabone or something to chew on, it's fine. And my golden rule is at 4 hours max at a time. I don't like leaving a dog in there all the time and thinking, you know, I can go to work and I can come back 8 hours, and you get in the habit of leaving your dog in a crate. It's not fair to the animal. But in a general sense, it's a containment. It's your control factor. Just like I use crates, I use kennels, I use all kinds of things to control behavior that it never gets started because they don't have the opportunity to start digging holes in your backyard or ripping this up or ripping that up. They've got some control factor, a crate, that's going to overcome that and not let them get negative behavior started, right? So very important. So those two aspects, separation anxiety and potty training, would be one of the main things that you want to work on with a young puppy, and developing that animal so they get used to being by themselves for long periods of time and don't have any stress caused by it. That will be a big plus in your life, for the life of the dog. If you let that stuff get started, it'll be really a major trauma on you and the dog, for that matter. A lot of dogs go into the pound because they have behavior like that, and they start ripping things up. People don't understand that they've caused the problem. It's not the dog's fault. It's the human behavior that's created this, right? I used to see it all the time. I grew up in a college town, and I would see the kids get a dog on the summers and be everywhere with that dog. Go down to the beach, go to the park, go everywhere. They just love that little dog. Well, here comes school. Now they got to change their routine, go into school, and they put the dog somewhere else, and the dog just starts ripping things up because he's already become handler bound or handler dependent, right? So keep it in mind. I'll go ahead and let you go. Mark Ferrasci, ProTech Dog Training, just testing my new sound system, and hopefully it's working well, and we'll go from there. I thank you much. Bye-bye.